Hello, Seth. Thank you very much for taking time out of your day to join me for this interview. You're actually the first person from the Stocks campus that I'm interviewing, so looking forward to see how this goes. How are you?
Good, man. How are you?
Great, thank you. The reason I've invited you on for an interview is because I saw in the Wins channel you posted a win where you started off with $500 and you traded that to $6,800. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Right. So that is something I would like to go into a bit later on in the interview. But for now, what was your life like before joining the real world?
It was lost. There wasn't really a path. Um, I actually joined the real world while I was on deployment, and it was looking really glim and dark. I didn't really have anything to come home to. It was just kind of the regular day-to-day job, 9 to 5. And then I saw Tate on Twitter and TikTok and all that during his internet takeover, and I joined the same day. There was no second thoughts, and I haven't looked back. It's every day I'm learning something new. Every day there I can look back and say I did better than I did yesterday, and that is all due to the real world.
Great. Uh, so you said you found out about the real world through Tate TikToks. Is there any more you could go into backstory in terms of the deployment? What made you go into that? Anything else?
So during deployments, you're kind of isolated. You don't have much contact. You're either 12 hours across the world or even more. You don't really have time to talk to friends and family, and that's really good for you because it allows you to actually almost meditate on your life and see where you've been to where you're going. And there wasn't really anywhere I was going. And so I was actually able to sit there and say, okay, where am I going? Actually sit there and see what my strengths and weaknesses are. And at that time, the weaknesses were more than the strengths. And that wasn't okay. So
Hmm.
then I finally took it through and I made a decision, like I said, the same day. And the first day you get in there, it was just immediate information. And you had to take action on the first day. There was no other choice. And every day it's a call to action. And if you want it, you'll succeed. I mean, there is no way you won't succeed in the real world.
All right. So from your perspective, you've just joined, you're saying you see an overload of information, maybe not overload, just a lot of information. What made you choose the stocks campus to go into, or did you try something else before that?
So my father was actually a stockbroker um way back in the day, and now he's a financial advisor. And so I grew up listening to CNBC in the background versus Saturday morning cartoons. I didn't get that luxury, so I always had that type of background, and I've always been quite good at math. So numbers were very familiar to me, and I didn't want to be a crypto dork, so I didn't do crypto, and I went to stocks because it was known. Um, and then going through it was immediate. Just I felt drawn to it. Like it was really hard to fight that or to do copywriting or anything. I just didn't feel anything towards it. I actually felt drawn towards the stocks campus, and immediately going through the videos that Professor Ayush has put out and all this other stuff, it was just perfect. Like it was everything I could ask for. And then we have the trading mindset. It covered all my bases. It covered money, numbers, logic and analytical thinking. It covered life lessons, physical fitness. Like you can't get more out of the stocks campus.
How different is the material in the stocks campus compared to what you could find online?
So when you're going through, you're actually being taught by a millionaire professor who's made this work and done it for his living, doing options. And to sit there and say, "Oh, I can get this anywhere," is just it doesn't make any sense because I don't have direct contact with a millionaire who has done this for a living. You can't ask him questions every single day. You can't sit there and get his watch list and get what he trades. You you can't do that online, just anywhere else. It doesn't happen.
Hmm.
Um, and then he also we actually just recently started a trading mindset and psychology course. He actually talks about your mental thoughts, why you think when you're trading, what you do while you're trading, how you actually do things in an everyday basis to affect your trading. You can't get that online.
How many hours did you put into the campus when you first joined, and has that evolved over time? This is hours per day.
12, 14 hours. Easy.
Mhm. And this is while you were deployed?
Yep.
Interesting. Okay. Could you explain that a bit more?
Uh, so where we were, um, I had the luxury to be able to actually um, be involved with the real world um, while I was deployed. So we had a lot of shift time to where I wasn't working and someone else was, and then we traded off. But during that time where I wasn't working, it was all spent in the real world. It was every minute I was getting 6 hours of sleep, sometimes less, because I couldn't sleep because I wanted to learn more. I wanted more. I wanted it all. And now we're here. I mean, I just recently I joined in May, and it is now almost a year, not quite. And I've made apprentice in the stocks campus, and I've grown my account. I've learned all these things, and it's just it's compounding interest.
Hmm. When you first started out, were you following the professor's trades, or did you go straight into just doing it yourself?
So when I first started out, I was following Professor's trades to learn. He would sit there, and while he would take a trade, we were looking at the charts, and I was directly asking him questions on his trade. Why did you take this trade? What does this trade do? Why did you take this versus that? And I got direct answers from him on his trades, and I was able to educatedly take a trade based off of research that I've done and research that he's done and answers that we talked about back and forth. And that's what a lot of people make a mistake of when they come in the campus the first time is they just take the professor's trades thinking that they're automatically going to win. Well, not every trading strategy is 100%. That's how it works. Um, any trader that says, "Oh, I've won 100% of the time," they're absolutely lying. They're absolutely lying. Um, so yeah, when I first started out, I was following his trades, directly asking him questions to learn how to trade correctly. I mean, he is a millionaire professor trading this. Obviously, he knows what he's doing.
Hmm. And I'm sure the listeners are interested. What kind of gain did you make just by following the professor?
So when I first started out following the professor's trade, I grew my account from 2,000 to 10,000,
Oh, wow. Nice.
and that was not 100% his trades, but it was 85% his trades.
Okay. And then after that, you decided to transition into trading just solo by yourself.
Yes. So I following that little 210K, that was the first goal. That's the first pillar that I wanted to reach. During that time, I pulled out those funds and I made a self challenge, and I started from $500. And in 3 weeks, I grew that $500 from 6,800 to $6,800.
Hmm.
And that was all my own trades, as well as still asking professor questions, still doing all these things, still trying to help out as much as I can, answering other people's questions that have just started. And that's the thing is you know the knowledge when you can teach it. If you can teach something, that means you truly know it. And that was a big thing for me. I grew up, within the military as well as sports. So it was a big thing for me to sit here and say, okay, if I can tell this guy how to do it, then that means I truly know what I'm doing. And that's kind of a self test for me. When I started to get there, that's when I was like, okay, it's time. And now this is I still have a brokey job, but I can set my own hours for it at least, which is nice.
Are those gains realistic for other people if they put the work in? Or do you think that was kind of a fluke?
Oh no, absolutely. Those gains are realistic for anyone who puts in the work and who's willing to learn and ask good questions and be committed. Those gains are 100% realistic. I've seen it multiple other times, not just myself, from other students and peers within the campus.
Sure. Great. Uh, how did the community impact you? Did it have any kind of effect?
Oh, absolutely. Um, Being in the military and playing sports, it was always that sense of brotherhood and camaraderie. And immediately, as soon as I joined, I had that. If I had questions, there's a channel you can ask that, and I was met with challenging answers. It made me do the research. It made me level up. I didn't have a choice but to or fail. Those are the two options. So that's what I say when you put in the work and you actually are committed to it, you have no choice but to succeed. And
Hmm.
with the community backing me up, being accountable, um, making sure that everything you do is under good morals and with a good heart and genuine, it makes you stay accountable. You can't not be accountable with this. And that truly was, I felt that sense of belonging somewhere, like I did in the military, and it was truly amazing immediately.
Hmm. That's great. And what about the Winds channel? Did that affect you in any way?
It was when you see a constant flow of receipts of people winning every day, it kind of pisses you off, right? Because you're sitting there and you see these guys and they're just like, oh, I won $200 a day, I won $1,000 a day, I won this every single day. It's endless. And then you're sitting there like, what am I doing? It really does piss you off. It kind of has to go back when Tate did the interview about the guy that he saw driving a Ferrari down the street and he got angry inside. It's that exact same feeling. And then you're just like, what am I doing? I need to get with the program. What are these guys doing that I'm not? And you start asking more questions and you start learning more. And it's just a constant uh, leveling up of your life as well as your mentality. And you're forced to level up.
Hmm. I like that. What was the biggest mistake you made when you first started out in this Talks campus?
Not allowing myself to actually learn the detail. So there's so much information that I would just go through and I wanted more as much as possible, as quickly as possible. But the issue that I had was once I got to level 3, I was forgetting stuff that I learned on level 1. So I would, if I were to do it all over again, I would tell myself to just kind of actually take the information, actually learn and fully digest the information, take copious notes. There's never enough notes that you can take. It's kind of like when you were in school and you were taking notes, you kind of took the Cliff Note version and then you go back to look over it and then it looks like hieroglyphs. It's the same type of thing with everything in life. If you actually want to learn something, take very good notes and actually commit to yourself. And that was probably the biggest mistake because I would have to go back and repeat stuff 4, 5, 6 times. But I was committed, so I was okay with that.
Hmm. And then on the other end, what are the three biggest lessons you've learned from your time in the real world?
3 biggest lessons. Not everything happens the way you want it to. Just because you take something and you do something, it doesn't mean that it's going to happen. Um, you have to be flexible and understand that you can do everything in your power to do all this. But unless you actually go forth and put in the work, it's not going to happen. You have to be committed. You have to put in the work. Um, and that's not even a personal lesson. That's from watching other people fail. And it's really sad when I see a guy come in and they're fully committed off the bat, 100%. And then you just see them slowly downfall. And that is so, because I'm just like, you don't realize the opportunity that you're missing when you're not committed to this. If you were to fully commit, this is an opportunity of a lifetime. There's no doubt. Money isn't real. It really isn't. Um, Money is time and energy. So you get paid off the time and energy. That's how a job works. You get paid by going to work and using your energy and taking your time, and you get paid a certain amount. And if you don't get paid that certain amount, then you either look for a new job or you have to level yourself up. And it's the same thing in the stocks campus. If you're only able to trade options, you have to level yourself up. But if you're able to trade futures, you can make a higher amount. Or you can you can sell a covered call and make the premium and all that stuff. I'm not going to go into too much detail, but if you want to do all that, there's so many ways to make money. As long as you put your time and energy into it to learn, you will always be able to make money no matter what you do. Lastly, your mind has power beyond belief. If you believe in yourself and you believe, hey, this is going to work, you have a higher probability of it working. That's something I had to learn very hard. And everyone tells you, you're going to lose your money. Everyone tells you that. I had guys while we were in the barracks saying, hey, you're going to lose all that money. Why are you doing that? You'll never make it. And then I'm just sitting there showing them win after win after win after win after win after win. And they're just like, how are you doing this? I was like, because I put the time, energy, and effort in, and I believed I could. And that relates to everything in life.
Mm-hmm.
So
Powerful. I like that. And now that you're on this trajectory after having joined the real world, where do you see your life heading in 6 months to 1 year?
I can't even fathom how high I go. It's unimaginable. It's a it's a compound of wins. Like, they say start off small, which is true. You don't want to shoot for the moon immediately. But Justin Waller actually did an interview, and he said once you get to that first mountain, you're not happy. You look for the next mountain and the next mountain and the next mountain, and it's always a climb on top of the mountain. And I can't. That's how it is. It just there is no limit. In stocks, when you're making when you make a lot of money, you call it mooning. Or when a stock shoots up, it's called to the moon. We say rocketing to the moon, right? And that's how I see my life. Just constant shoot up, rocketing to the moon.
Love it. Okay, that's all my questions. Thank you, Seth. I'll look forward to doing a part two at some point to really see
Okay.
how things went.
All right. I look forward to it.
Thank you again for your time, and I wish you all the best. Goodbye.
Yes, man. Have a good one.